Hey everyone, on today's episode of the Mayor's Table, we have a great show, and I'm just going to sit here and tell you this is a show that you need to watch, you need to share. We're going to be talking with members of UmattR, and that's a teen organization who are leaders in our community, reaching out to our elementary and middle school kids, sharing a positive message, and this is a message that we need to get out to everyone. So this is going to be a great episode. Let's make it the most shared episode of the Mayor's Table ever. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. Farmington Mayor Nate Duckett with you today with a host of professionals in this setting. By now, I imagine, we've got our UmattR teams with us. Our UmattR coordinator, Vicki Campbell, is with us. And we're here today to share with our community the great things that are happening with UmattR and the positive difference you're making with kids all across San Juan County. That's why we're here today. That's a great topic.
Awesome.
So I want everybody to introduce themselves, and we'll start here with Miss Vicki Campbell.
Okay, I'm Vicki Campbell, and I've been doing this 9 years this year.
Wow.
And it's evolved and changed, and it's been really cool.
Awesome, Vicki. Thank you.
I'm Graham McWilliams. I've been doing this 2 months, a month and a half this year, and I'm a high school senior, go to San Juan College High School, and I'm super excited to be part of UmattR.
Fantastic.
I'm Maddie Schmidt. I go to PV, and I'd say I'd also been doing it for about 2 months at this time, and it's so much fun, and I've learned a lot.
Yeah, my name is Marley Deswood, and I go to FHS, and just as them, I've been doing it for around 2 months, and I've had a lot of fun doing it.
Well, great. Well, I'm really thankful that we were able to pull the crew together and kind of provide this overview for people in our county to learn about UmattR, and a lot of folks may not know. I know a lot of our elementary school students know because of the 9 years that Mrs. Campbell has put into this program, which is a part of the San Juan Safe Community Initiative.
Yep.
But 9 years, Vicki, is that how long UmattR's gone along? Are you?
It's actually been going 17 years.
Oh, wow.
We started
okay.
in 2008.
Oh, wow.
Well, who was your predecessor?
Angela Walk-On,
Okay.
and then prior to that was Greg, and then Shantae Wolf started
I
it
remember Shantae.
with
Yes.
Dan Darnell.
I didn't realize that it went back that far.
That's who started it. Dan and Shantae started it, and then moved from there.
Well, those are some really good founders to have involved in this, and now to see it come into its 17th year with this group of fantastic young people. And tell me a little bit, Vicki, just what is the mission of UmattR? Why do we do this?
So it's a prevention program, and basically our goal is to give local kids a role model and a hero that they can actually see and listen and aspire to be. So whether we're trying to inspire them by getting through a hardship or making a good friend or staying drug and alcohol free, that's really our goal. We've kind of evolved since COVID, and we really took on a lot of mental health and a lot of situations that kids go through, like divorce and family situations. So we started very much centered around staying drug and alcohol free. Now we've added mental health, and bullying is just as much a part of what we do.
Sure. Well, as somebody who has been involved at least on the very outskirts of UmattR, obviously love these opportunities to bring you on and talk with you, but also providing donation funding for what I think is a really positive kind of movement in our county. I've been able to go to the finale presentations where each of the UmattR members get to present their story as they present them in the schools, and just to see the variability between what our kids are going through, and so therefore having each of you in those schools being able to share that experience, I can see how that can make a positive difference for somebody who might be going through that and might feel like, it's just me, I'm just dealing with this, and then to look face to face with individuals like, no, you're not alone. We know exactly what you're going through, and that's why we're here, is to talk through that. But Marley, what do you?
I was gonna say, well, I feel like it's also helps like having like kids, because I feel like a lot of our stories are based like when we were like younger, kind of around the elementary school kids age as well. So I feel like they could very much be going through the same thing, and they can see like things that they should and shouldn't do and stuff, and learn from our stories. And I feel like it helps like oppose as like talking to like an adult or something. So.
Sure. It's easier for them to relate to someone who's closer to their age.
Yes.
Yeah. Maddie, how many kids are in this year's UmattR group?
I think 23. Yeah.
23. And we're talking about individuals from, you got to be a senior, right, in
Yes.
high school. And so we've got San Juan College High School, PV Farmington, but we also have Bloomfield
And Aztec.
and Aztec.
And some years we've had Kirtland, we've had Shiprock, Navajo Prep.
It's open to all of those.
It's open to everyone in the county.
Great.
So.
And for individuals who are interested, they're watching this, like, I don't know what UmattR is. At the end of the show, they're going to be like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that process of
So-
selecting or applying and selecting.
February 1st, applications open, and then it is the applicant's job to submit the application and go through the application process. And then there's a few stages that you have to submit a story, and then multiple rounds of interviews. We have over 300 applicants, and then we interview. We probably break it down to 50, and then we break it down to 23.
Wow. So over 300 applicants, and we got to get it down to the 20s. That's a
And
lot.
we started really at 8 and 12. So being in the 20s was a big leap of faith for San Juan Safe Communities, because we were now, that's like doubling our team and
Sure.
work.
Right.
So, but it's been very successful doing it.
Well, I'm interested because the story component, and so we're here in front of the cameras. I mean, would you all be willing to share kind of your stories and what you share with those kids?
Yeah.
Maddie, you want to start?
So my story, basically how I started with all these kids, is I tell them I come from a big family. I have 12 siblings. I have 8 sisters and 4 brothers. I'm ninth in line. And where my story starts is the beginning of sophomore year, or technically second semester sophomore year. I just got my driver's license, and I was really excited, but then my mom needed surgery, and the surgery did not go amazingly. And then she got life-lifted to Denver Hospital, where she stayed for 7 months fighting for her life. And this time was really hard for me because I had just got my driver's license, and so it was my responsibility to take my siblings everywhere, make sure they were okay while still doing good in school and balancing my sport and working. So this was really just like, it piled on for me. It was really hard because what I tell the kids is my mom wasn't there for me, and my dad was supporting my mom. And even though I wasn't going through it alone, it felt like I had to hold it all together for all of my siblings, because I didn't want them to see that I was hurting just as much as they were. I wanted to be somebody they could rely on. And though that was good for them, it really ended up hurting me because my grades started slipping because I wasn't sharing with other people that I needed help just as much as my siblings did. And my grades started slipping, and my attitude was really bad in my sport, and I was just overall not doing good. And then one day we got a talk, and my mom's heart stopped beating for 10 minutes. And basically that's the day that I decided I needed a change and I needed help. And so I went to my pastor's house because his wife went through a similar thing. And I just told him everything. I told him that I've been holding on to so much, and it was so hard because I felt like I had to hold it together for everybody else, even though I was going through a hard time. And that day it was like the change, and when I realized it's okay to let others help me, and that's the message I share to the kids. No matter what like hard time you're going through, there's always people who are there for you in a community that helps you. And because I was able to share with those people and they were able to help me, I started doing good in my sport, doing good in my grades again. And my mom's back home now, and pretty much that's my story.
I'm almost that teary-eyed right there, Maddie. That's incredibly difficult for somebody at that age, and so much is changing in your life in those moments to have to kind of carry that burden. But I appreciate what I hear a lot in these stories, and I forget, is resilience. I mean, so much of this is just being able to work through it and not give in to those moments where, you're like, how am I going to keep doing this? How can I continue on? And you stay resilient and push through that. So thank you so much for sharing. Marley.
Okay, so my story, it begins in the 5th grade, and I grew up in a blended family, and I have 2 older sisters, one who is 30 and the other one who is 19, and they're both my half-sisters. And during this time, I was not close with my oldest sister because she lived pretty far away, but I was very close with my other sister, and our relationship was very close, and I looked up to her a lot. But eventually she started getting very distant, and the last vivid memories I have of her was when she locked herself in her room and she just cried that she wanted to go back home to her mom. And I didn't really understand what was like going on during this time, but like my parents explained to me that her mom wanted to keep her away from us. And then it wasn't until 2 years later in the 7th grade that I had saw my sister again, and it was also the last time I had saw her. And it was as if she wasn't the same person as she was before, and she wasn't the big sister as I knew anymore. And I was feeling really alone with everything without having my sister's support anymore. And this resulted in me joining in a bad friend group who tried to influence bad choices on me. But a year later, in the 8th grade, I ended up joining high school tennis, and I didn't realize how much of a positive impact it would have on me. I was around very kind and driven girls who were the opposite of my past friend group, and just being around them made me really want to be the exact same, and I just like looked up to them a lot. And through tennis, I also met one of my closest friends, and she was the first person I opened up to about how I was feeling about my sister. And she just like recommended that I should talk to my parents about it all, because I was like hiding all those feelings. And I took her advice, and I learned that I didn't feel as alone as I did because my parents felt the same exact way as me, and they helped me through that. And even though my sister isn't in my life anymore, it doesn't affect me negatively as it did before. With joining tennis and finding the right people who want the best for me, they help me overcome everything.
Surrounding yourself with the right people.
Yes.
I know Vicky can speak to this. I mean, that's one of the most important things for your whole life.
Yeah.
Because those who you surround yourself with, typically that's who you are.
Exactly.
You know, so that's your point. So it's good to have people who are like-minded, they're positive driven, they're faithful, they're all those things that keep you
And we share that
going.
a lot with the kids
Yeah.
at
Yep.
the assemblies.
I like-
Everything comes back to that.
Yes. And I feel like it really just helps to have like someone who's older than you like just give off such like a good example and stuff, because it's like, oh, I want to be just like them as well. So
Well, and before Graham speaks, I'm gonna say they're also so cool that the little kids are like, if they can do it, I can do it, and they're cool.
Yeah.
So it's not just okay, they're older, but they are just idolizing. They're like the trading cards. They walk out of the halls. Yesterday, they walked out of the halls just going, oh my gosh. You know, it's so
I wanted
cool.
I didn't know if we had any trading cards here with us. Do any of you have your trading card?
We do have
Yeah,
I
some.
didn't get with that. We may have to have somebody come off set and bring them on, but I think the trading cards are the coolest.
yeah, definitely.
Sure. I mean, I remember for me, I think in the 8th grade, they went to a UmattR student, or the UmattR group went to my school at Heights, and this one person, I don't know their name, but they had a really, really impactful story that actually helped me a lot in 8th grade and going through stuff. But the reason I was like paying attention at all was because they were wearing a pair of sneakers that I really liked. They were wearing a pair of off-white expensive sneakers that I wanted so bad or whatever.
awesome.
And I'm like looking at those, I'm like, oh man, those sneakers are sick. That guy's cool. And then he like, gave his story, and it was like, really impactful for me. But I don't know if I would have been. I'm sure I was like, heard it in the background, but I don't think it would have meant as much to me if it didn't come from somebody who I was able to look up to and had the stuff that I wanted to have on. You know what I mean? And I wanted to be like.
Do you remember who it was?
I do not. No. But yeah, no.
That's so.
But it was like 2021.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do
But that's
some research.
that's such a real thing. Like you're like, oh man, look at that guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, those are off white. Oh, that's so cool. I want those. And I like Googling them on my phone and like trying to figure out the price or whatever. And then I'm like, oh, like, and then his story, and that really hit me. But yeah, I mean, if you want me to go with my story now,
Graham,
I
let's
can.
hear your story.
Yeah, so for me, I had, growing up, I had a super close relative. He was not the immediate family, but he might as well have been, right? He was super integral to my parents' lives and to me and my sister's life. And just a great dude, super smart guy. He, and had a great job. He was making lots of money, doing a lot of good things within his church. And he was, if I'm being honest, from like 6 years old, I was looking up, he's everything I wanted to be. Right, and so I'm watching, kind of my idol, and one of my biggest inspirations in life, be that and be awesome. And I, grew up looking up to this guy. And as time went on, he had went through some things when he was a kid, and he had, this history of a lot of stuff that happened to him, and the way he coped was drinking and with alcohol, right? And that's, I think a lot of times we stress how much like, oh, you don't need alcohol to have fun, but I don't think that, I think the vast majority of the reason people drink is to cope with stuff rather than to just have fun. And so he was doing that to cope, and it became a heavy addiction, and you know, he like started his performance professionally and personally, and he lost a lot of things. He lost his relationship with his wife and his children, and you know, he with us and my family, it was, you know, he just wasn't there anymore, and because we had, you know, I just watched him go down this path, right? And I was there during a lot of that, and watched it specifically as a kid, and so I vowed then that I wanted to repeat all the good things about him, right? And I wanted to be that great person that I looked up to him as, and to repeat none of the negative. And so that's like why I tell the kids why I'm here, that's why I do UmattR, is because I don't want one of you to end up in addiction like he did. And I don't want one of you guys to hurt your own lives, right? And I don't want to hurt my own life, right? Which is why I'm sober. And so through that all, I've used that experience to really push me into sobriety, really push me into UmattR, and to just help the people and have this desire to help people not be like that. He's sober now, and I couldn't be more proud of him, and we have a really good relationship at this point. But you know, how much did it cost him? Not in a dollar amount, I'm sure it hurt his pocket a lot, but how much did it hurt him in his life, and how much did it take away from who he was supposed to be and who he was created to be?
Right.
And I just never want to be like that. So.
Well, that's such a good point when you think about individuals. Not everybody's perfect, right? And a lot of those people we look up to have parts of themselves that, you know, are maybe undesirable. They actually are defeating the purpose, maybe, of the good things that they're trying to do in life. And you know, certainly my story would be a similar story in that regard. I mean, I came from a blended household. I had, you know, sisters who were, you know, addicts, and my father who struggled with alcohol abuse, and you know, and divorce then that, you know, led my mother to leave, and that's how I ended up here in Farmington. But just in a very difficult time in my life as a ninth grader. We had junior high back then, so as a ninth grader, and my grandmother lived with us. She had Alzheimer's. So in this household, I'm living with my father, who is dealing with his issues. I have a sister who's dealing with her issues. I've got a grandmother who's got Alzheimer's, and here I am, this 14-year-old kid, just like, hey, what's going on around here? You know, and what I was doing, and to kind of center on what Marley said, you know, I've really focused on sports. And sports was something that was just a part of my family, and my brother was a great football player, and I wanted to be like my brother, and really focused on sports in school, and just made that kind of my focus and my faith, and kept me centered. And I said to myself, I'm not going to be, I love my father, and there's a lot of great things about my father, but I'm not going to do those things because I want to be better than that. And I always said at a very young age, like, what do you want to be when you grow up, Nate? I'm very outspoken about it. I want to be a great dad. Because I know if I'm going to be a great dad, there's a lot of other things that are going to be working well for me in that regard. You know, I'm going to have a good marriage, and I'm going to make that the focus of what we do, and I'm going to put Christ in the center of my kids' life and our family, so that we can all have this base and understanding of what our purpose is here. Because I think purpose, I don't know how much you guys get into that, this conversation with their kids, is people have to have a purpose in this world.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to find what that purpose means, because you're dealing with a lot of different people in your life who are coming in and out, who may have, this guy had it all together, he's working in the right way, and then he lost his purpose. Right. And he got overtaken by something else. But you recognize he was going in the right way, these things are the things I don't want to do, but he brought it back. So I think it's very, very important. Yeah. Vicki, tell me a little bit about your history with UmattR.
Kind of how the program evolved. We started really trying to just do different things with we had about 8 teens when I started, or 8 seniors, and they would do some kind of skit, whether it be just some kind of skit or a game to kind of get their attention. It didn't really have, it was all tied back to drug and alcohol, staying drug and alcohol free. And what happened was I felt like after 1 year, I just felt like we needed to kind of own in on our own. And so we started stories my second year.
Okay.
And every year it evolved, and it was really, a lot was drug and alcohol abuse and good friends, good decisions. And then COVID hit, and we went down to 8 students again, 8 seniors during COVID, and we kept pushing through it even though everyone was like, shut down, don't meet, don't do this. We played kickball at the park. We opened it up and let kids come if they needed, because we wanted somehow to be able to be there for kids.
Sure.
And then what we saw after that 2-year period was there was a lot of kids with some mental health issues. So we didn't open it up, but kids started coming in and talking about it. So naturally, that became part of us. We had a lot of bullying stories, or just different things. So it kind of evolved into a spectrum of stories. And basically everyone has a story. And when people call me, how do I get involved and how does it work? The counselors at the school call me, and how do we tell high school seniors? And I want it to be organic. I want it to be real, nothing fabricated. And so everyone has a story. And so it's just, maybe they need to own in on something and figure out what it is their purpose is and how they want to make a difference.
Yeah.
And that's what we end up leaving with them. And then they come in and we roll from there. And then we put an assembly together. Once we select a team, we put the team together to where they come out and share their stories with some skits and things like that to make it interactive. And that's what we do.
That's a lot of work when I start thinking about all of that. And Marla, you mentioned you're in sport. You mentioned you're in sports, Maddie. I know you do a whole lot of other stuff as well, which I'd like you guys to kind of talk about that, because you're driven by a lot of different things, and you're finding the time to be a leader here in this community. So how do you make that all work, Maddie? How do you find the time to make all this happen?
So I work 2 jobs also, and
right.
I'm very involved with youth, and I feel, with my church at least, and I feel like God has put me in a place where I am able to lead others, and I can use His will for me to spread His word in everything I do. And I get to share it in my mom's story. I mean, God is the one who brought her back to life and gave her the will, and it's in a miracle through Him. And I just pray, ultimately, it's just another outlet to be a light to others. And I think so many kids in this community can look up to not just me, but our whole team, like we were talking about. It's so important. And initially, when I signed up I wasn't even going to sign up for UmattR, because I really thought it was more grade focused, and because of my story, like I said, I was failing a bunch of classes. When my mom got sick, I didn't think I was in a place where I could share my story, but Vicky and a couple other people showed me it's not about your GPA or anything like that. Every story is so important, and you're more than just a grade. So I think ultimately I'm so thankful that I've gotten the opportunity to be where I am, but it's so easy to make time for something when it's so important, I feel like. That's how I do it.
That's a really good line right there. When it's important, you're going to make time.
Yeah, I would agree on that. When I wanted to do UmattR, I feel like it was just really important because one of my friends did it, and I was like, okay, I want to do that as well, because I really like to be in a role model position and stuff. And so I feel like Maddie said, I feel like it's important and stuff, so you just make time for it and stuff. And plus it's fun as well. Our team, they're really close. It's fun doing it. The assemblies are fun, and all of our activities that we do are fun. So you just make the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
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 For me, I do the stuff I do so I can be a leader in the community, right? I think that you talk about purpose, and you talk about that's, to add on to what Maddie said, I feel like that's why I do these things. And so, if you don't know me, I'm super involved in my church. I'm going to graduate with an associate's in electrical engineering from high school when I do graduate. Love
the honesty.
No, I do a lot of stuff through that. I don't play sports, but mainly just because of the nature of San Juan High School. But because of all of that, I do those things. I make time to be a leader in my church, and I make time to do the school and to do all that stuff so I can pour into people. And because I want to, when I die one day, I don't want to lead a life that's could have not been lived, and the world wouldn't have been different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and so I do UmattR, even though it's a big time commitment. It's a lot of work because that's where you find fulfillment, and that's the purpose, right? You can sit around and you can play video games and you can watch TV and stuff like that, but there's no purpose in that. And so I do the volunteering with Hills. I do the UmattR. I do the stuff throughout the community because that's the purpose.
Right.
That's the whole point of it all.
I agree.
I was going to say one thing that I've really enjoyed in my 9 years is, which is the backside of this, is we're sending kids out to college, understanding that they gave back to their community, but they also got sponsors from the community. And so when they grow up, and I always try to remind them, like, what we want is you to grow up, come back, and give back to your community and get involved. And it's really important to see that, feel it, and understand that.
Well, I've always said it, for me, when the opportunity came to serve, so to speak, I mean, there's always opportunities, and you guys are proving the point at any age you can serve. And serving other people, to me, is kind of the purpose of life. I mean, it completes that circle. I mean, so much of what we do is about ourselves, but you're so much better off personally and your community when you give more than you take. So you're proving that point. And I think this is, again, that's the message that has to get sent out there. I have these Mayor Challenge coins, and there's 4 words on the back of it, and service is one of those words. Stewardship's another one. Civility and citizenship. I think all 4 of those things, if we could look at ourselves and say, what can I give? I mean, those things right there are what you can give that would make the world a much better place each and every day, for sure. So, well, I love this. Have any of you been approached, like, afterwards by a kid who said, hey, can I talk to you about what's going on with me?
Yeah, so I've had like 2 instances. It's really cool because at the beginning of the year they told us, like, whenever you would tell your story, you'd see a couple heads poke up and be like, oh my gosh. And so, like, my story is obviously very, like, it's in the death category, and like they're all deep stories, but mine's really hard to tell for me. And I saw this one time, this girl, she's just sobbing while I'm telling my story. And there's one other person on the UmattR team who has a story like similar to me, and sobbing during his story too. And then after, she came up to us and she was like, you've inspired me, like, I want to be like you, I want to be on the UmattR team. And that just, like, it showed me, like, this is what it's all for, you know, to be an outlet for others.
Yeah.
I was at an FHS football game the other day, and I had a kid come up to me, hey, you're on UmattR, right? And, like, all excited or whatever, and I talked to him for a few minutes, and it was a similar thing with him, and he was like, oh, I thought that was really cool, and, you know, he kind of gave me a little bit of insight towards what's going on with him, and, you know, he's, like, I didn't know where his parents were, and he was at a football game, which was a little, like, all right, you're in 4th grade, man, but, like, you know, it was, like, a really sweet, like, cool thing to do, because it was, like, one of those, like, hey, man, they notice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that becomes, like, for years, right? And that's the whole point.
Yeah, and I feel like it's not even just that they notice. Now they're getting the courage to go up and talk to these people they know they can trust, and I think that's so important to have in our community.
Yeah. I've even had a teacher from one of the middle schools reach out last year, and we go to the middle schools, and our approach there is we don't do, like, skits. We just talk stories because they're older, so we are prepared for that. But they reached out after and asked if I could send 2 girls that had stories on making some bad decisions and how they changed, and how they went to that middle school and had a small group session with those kids. And later the principal messaged me and he said it changed the trajectory of those kids' life. And I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah, well, that's big. It's very purposeful what you're doing. Marley, what are your thoughts just in regards to those opportunities that may have arisen with individuals to have a one-on-one? And is there any training given, by the way, Vicki, just in regards to that, with, you know, because it can kind of be kind of awkward maybe, right? Like, oh, how do I handle that next step?
We talk about, like, just like how to handle someone maybe speaking at an assembly. And then if someone were to reach out on social media, then I kind of direct them to one of the students if they needed that particular advice through a private conversation.
Sure.
We just say, keep an open dialogue. If they need help, they come to me or somebody that's helping us.
Are we trying to connect anybody to other resources?
We have directed them, most of the time we direct them to a social worker or a nurse at the school
Okay.
if it's happening at a school.
Got it.
Yeah.
Marley, one of the things I admire about you all is your willingness to stand out in the public and speak. Not everybody can do that, and they say that's like one of the number one fears that anybody can do. How do you overcome that?
Well, I remember like at like our first assembly, everyone was like so nervous for it and everything. But then like once you just like get into it and just get into telling your story, it just all like flows together and stuff. And just after you keep on doing it more and more, then you just get more comfortable and stuff. And plus it's also like hard because like all of our stories are so like personal and stuff. So it is hard to just go up there and just like,
You're on.
just dump out your trauma basically.
Yeah.
I will say we start off, our very first meeting is we meet together and we share our stories and everyone's bawling
Yeah.
in a room together. That's how we get to know each other the very first time. And it's very real and organic, and at the end of it, everyone has this love and respect for one another that they didn't know they had. And they don't know each other because they're from different schools. So it really, that's the way we start our year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, let me talk about like nervousness and stuff. Like I remember at the first assembly that I was there, it's like, you know, you're introducing yourself. So it's like, I'm going, you do all that stuff. And I'm not nervous to speak in front of people. And I'm like, why am I like sweating right now?
Yeah.
These are 4th graders and 5th graders. Like, I'm like, okay, my name is Graham McWilliams. Don't forget, you're Graham McWilliams.
I still
You
do
go to
that,
San Juan College High
Very
School.
true.
And I like sit there like, you know, I do it less and less, but almost at every assembly I like go through it a couple times in my head while we're going down the line
Same.
introducing ourselves. And it's like, you know, now it's like, it's a much easier, like, okay, we're gonna do this, this, and this, right? But like, you know, just like Marley and Maddie were saying, like, it is freaky, like the first time you stand in front of, like, man, these are like 3rd graders. Like, this is, I'm talking to Calvin right now. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't like why is this so scary? But
so funny.
you know, it's fun, and I love doing it, and I love seeing like, especially like the interactions from all the skits and stuff we do with the elementary schoolers is like a really cool thing to do. I'm in one of them where I'm a victim of being bullied, and I get shoved, and I love seeing like all the kids like freak out when I like hit the floor, because I try to hit the floor as hard and realistic as possible because I think it's funny, and I like seeing that. Or we do an arm wrestle skit with one of them, like when we talk about teamwork, how like one elementary schooler can't beat one of our guys Wyatt, but a bunch of us can, right? And so that's like the thing is you get to watch that, and it's okay, can we get the strongest kid? And they all like point to somebody and like, all right, you're gonna arm wrestle Wyatt, and then everybody freaks out and loses it, and it's always so like cool to watch and see that interaction.
I think going back to like being nervous, I think our second like assembly, we tried to go without scripts, even though it was only the second one, and it was an experience. And I think the best part about our team is being a team, and that we're there for each other. So like, I messed up the whole entire assembly. I got it out of whack, but I knew that the team, like, because the kids don't know. The kids don't know the script, and they don't know what it's supposed to be like. But it was so reassuring, and no matter how nervous I am, I know the team can pick up for me wherever I left off. And that's, like, such a big part of UmattR in the first place. He was just talking about how we share it with the kids about teamwork, and I feel like it helps so much when you have a good team and people who are willing to help you when you need it.
One thing that's really cool this year is how close the team is. They've done team bonding. They message each other without me even being in it. Like, hey, we're gonna do this. We go to and I love that. I love that they're connecting and they're making a difference, not only just with the kids but with themselves, and which is so cool.
It's got to be therapeutic.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know, to get it out there.
It's
I mean,
really
It's all about
cool.
community.
Talk
We
about
talk
it.
about a big point is surrounding yourself with good people, right?
Yeah.
And that's what this is, and that's what's so cool about it.
Marley, what do you hope to gain from this experience?
Well, I was hoping to like gain just like the role of like being like an inspiration, and I feel like that was like the biggest part for me, is just like really helping out those little kids and stuff. And as Maddie said, like you can just like see like when we're up there like telling our stories, like you can just like see like the way the kids like react, and you can tell that they like are like listening fully and stuff, and that they're like feeling it as well. And I feel like that all just like helps out and stuff. So that's what I really hope to gain, and I feel like I am getting that.
Anything,
Yeah,
Maddie?
for me, it's like the same thing. So some kid might not be listening the whole assembly, but when I tell my story, I can hear or like just help one person.
Yeah.
Like, because ultimately, like the message like everybody shares is you have people to tell. There's people there for you. And like thinking back to when I went through that, I wish I had opened my eyes and realized that earlier. So if I'm able to help just one person, that's like my ultimate mission.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really not about gaining. I think the gain is like the joy. Like when we kill an assembly, you know what I mean? Like, that's like such a cool feeling to walk away from that. And if we don't kill an assembly, it's one of those that's like, all right, well, this is what we need to do. And like we at one point had an assembly that was not up to par with, I think, and everybody knew it. And then we had one of our UmattR members, like, we redid a short script, so we all on top of it, and then the next one we crushed, and it was like a really awesome thing to like do that, and that was the game. You know what I mean? It was like that feeling and that.
That was the assembly I messed up. Yeah.
Vicki, have you followed up with past UmattR members and kind of said, you know, how has this interacted in the rest of your life?
I have actually. I've had multiple people contact me and tell me that they shared their story through college. I mean, they become legal to drink and this, but it wasn't about that. It was about the purpose and properly managing all of the things in life. And they said that really helped them in some of those times, which I thought was interesting, hearing it from the 21-year-old in college say, you know, I went back to some of those ideas, like I need to put some things in check. And I was like, wow, because that's not our goal, but to hear that later is really cool and inspiring to think that you're making a difference on people's lives.
Sure.
Lots of different people.
What kind of the residual outcome of your efforts in there? I mean, I just see this, honestly, this experience is going to stay with you forever.
Definitely.
And I mean, what a great thing to reflect back on in moments when you're like, all right, I need to channel something. Like, what else have I been challenged on and overcome? And let me just think about UmattR and think about all the stories and think about how we came together and how we supported one another. And let me just grab a hold of that. I mean, I see it being such an effective tool to utilize. I will say this. I mean, one of the things that I try and challenge parents on is you got to push your kids out there. You got to get your kids out in front of people, speaking to people, so that they feel comfortable in those moments. That way they're not trying to shy away and they're afraid. My mother was always like that with me. And when it was time to pray, I mean, since I was this big, she's like, all right, Nathan, you know, you get in front of everybody, you got to pray. I was in everybody's wedding. I was, you know, it was just constantly just pushing me out there and pushing me out there. She'd leave me little paper clippings of what leadership meant and like my lunchbox. And, you know, I mean, you got to have people like that in your life. And whether it's coming from somebody in your home or if it's coming from a group of teens with stories like this, I mean, we got to get that message out there in front of them. So I really appreciate it.
I think this generation is the generation of social anxiety, and I think there's, because of you know, good and bad, the electronics and all the stuff that is changing from past generations.
Yeah.
I think this generation, without question, and I think even more so than the generation following us, is like just this generation of being scared to speak in front. And we talk about that's the biggest fear, and this generation of not wanting connection and wanting to isolate, right? Because that's kind of what they knew with COVID and all that stuff, right? And so I think it's such a cool opportunity to like even watch some other members of UmattR like progress and move from a lot more reserved and more the corner to like in the group and everything. I am very much like that. I'm outspoken. I like to be involved in stuff, but I'm also like a lot of times I'm like isolated and I'm in the corner and I'm
Puts
that guy.
himself there.
I put myself there, right? No, it's because UmattR hates me. No, I'm kidding. Don't clip that. No, but we have
Strike that.
yeah, let's get that out of there. No, but we have, I think, this really cool like connection as a group and being able to see some people come out of their shells, and that's really cool.
Well, look, I mean, the one thing we always have to have in society is face-to-face interactions. We have to have this. The screen stuff, I mean, I'm thinking about making shirts just sitting here and like put a smartphone on it with a big X through it, because we got to get away from that. We got to come back to the reality of what's happening around us now, because we're so distracted all the time by things that are going on in this little 3x5 world that have nothing to do with where I'm at right now in this moment, and it's taking away from those life experiences.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, it's this social anxiety we're dealing with now. If we continue to allow this to grow, where does that put us at 10, 20 years from now? I'm a little worried about it.
And we're social animals as humans.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, introverts are a one-on-one, and that's their big form of connection. Extroverts are groups of people, and they like to see that. But when we have no connection, and when we're just isolated on our phones, I think you start to see some very unhealthy traits and unhealthy. And that I think we shifted after COVID to that mental health for a reason.
And
it wasn't random.
No.
You're right.
And so I think it's really, really big to encourage connection and really important this day and age.
Yep.
I mean, do you have any other past examples of other teens in this program that have really, you saw them really make a positive difference? I mean, I know they all have, but I don't know if there's any that kind of stood out to you.
Gosh, I can't even keep up. There's been so many. I can't even keep up with all of them. I try to, I try to keep up personally, and then I try to post sometimes some of what they're doing.
Sure.
Because it's a stellar group of past UmattR kids. So when you go on and see kids that are graduating from, all these different schools, MIT. We have a kid that will be a senior at MIT this year that was on our team that, had his own YouTube station with thousands and thousands of followers. We have tons and tons of kids that have impacted this world, not just San Juan County, but around the world, and it's really cool to see.
What year was he?
4 years ago, because I think he's a senior at MIT this year.
Ethan.
Ethan.
Win.
He played tennis.
That's the person I was talking about.
That's the kid. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
And I can't even keep up because there's so many.
Yeah.
It's
Well, and they're moms and dads now, Vicki, because you've been doing this for 9 years.
yeah. Well, and it's been really fun to see kids like these guys saw some of those kids that were my UmattR kids, and that's cool when they were like, well, I remember seeing this kid.
Sure.
When you start seeing it come through, it's like, wow, that's awesome.
I feel so what I want to do as a career, I want to do something in the health field and just help people out, and I feel like this kind of just helps doing that, because we're helping people, and I feel like that just kind of helps to shape and just kind of get that started and stuff, and like you guys said, giving back, which is what I want to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's kind of, for me, that's the core of this mission, is part of that giving back component, and being able to relate to and share with and motivate. And I brought out your UmattR cards, and so here's cute Graham. Graham, Madison, very nice, Madison, Marley. I've known Marley a long time. Know Marley's dad.
They all have great stories, and at the end of the year, we'll have a banquet. Everyone can come and watch it.
And I encourage people to come out to this banquet. It is an emotional time. It's an inspiring time.
It really is.
It's a reflective time. I mean, just even speaking with you all here today, I'm just reflecting on my own life choices. Am I making the right choices? Is this message of substance-free lifestyle and empowering healthy choice, am I doing that? How can I do that better and be a better role model for the people around me?
One of the quotes that I love it's the smallest decision that can change your life forever. And so really that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's the smallest decision that can change anyone's life,
Well,
but
it's
your
like-
personal life.
Well, and people who are in really bad situations, it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And you lose sight of the fact that it takes just one step at a time. It's one thing at a time. It's one choice at a time that can lead you closer to that light. But a lot of times it seems like that first step is so far away, and it's typically the hardest step. If I'm going to make healthier choices, or I'm going to turn my life, I've got to make a conscientious decision to make that choice and be able to be disciplined in the moment to say, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this instead. I'm not going to hang out with that person who does these things because I know that this can happen. I'm going to go hang out with this other person, maybe an old friend that I used to have that I no longer hang out with because I was doing this other thing with this new group. And it's a small step that could turn it all around.
And sometimes, like one girl one year was the bully, and she was sharing her experiences, how what a good friend is, and her experience was not what happened to her, what she was doing to others, and how she was telling all those kids out there, if you're like me, you need to change.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
That's great.
So it's just so full circle.
Sure.
We're all part of the pie.
We need to bring parents in on these assemblies so the parents can listen to these stories too, because so many times when I'm listening to bad things happening with our kids, or this kid's having an issue in the school, or this is going on, I just think about who are the parents in this situation, or who aren't the parents in this situation, and they need a reality check. They need to start making those small decisions that will turn their life around and change the dynamic between what's happening in the house, because what's happening in the house is now transcending out for this individual elsewhere that they're going, and it's just it's a spiral,
Yeah.
and
Well, and we talk about trusted adults, and we make it really clear that not everyone's parent is a trusted adult. So kids come from all different walks, and so we let every kid know, a trusted adult could be a parent, a grandparent, a teacher, someone at church, and if you need help with a trusted adult and you don't have one, we're here. Tap on my leg at the end of this.
sure,
We're going to find someone for you.
right.
Because
There's a lot of great programs here in the area that, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, and so many others that I think,
so many.
are tapped and untapped for a lot of folks who don't know how to access it, what they need to do in that matter. But for UmattR, is there anything new? Is there anything in the future? Anything changing? Is there exciting news? Anything you could share?
Our big changes is just we kind of have such a big team.
Yeah.
That's a new thing, and it's been going great. So hopefully we continue that.
So we need more donors,
So basically, that's the disadvantage of the
big
new
thing.
team is it costs more money.
right?
Otherwise, we have a dance for high school seniors. We do one a year. That's in January. We want to provide an activity for kids to have something to do. There's the school events, but we like to have something that all the schools can come to one thing without getting a note signed or this or that.
What dance is that?
We host it at the Civic Center,
Okay.
and it's like the third week of January on a Saturday
Is
night.
it called the UmattR Dance?
It's the
Yes.
UmattR Dance.
UmattR
Dance.
It's country theme.
Country.
All right.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And
all
other
things
than
I know
that,
Graham likes that.
yeah, they don't just play country, so they'll make Graham happy. Maybe we'll have one of our guys DJ. We have a guy that on our team this year that is a DJ.
Oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good too.
Maybe he could help our DJ.
Yeah.
He might not
might
want to
need
do the
help,
work
yeah.
the whole time.
Wyatt could weld some decorations.
Yeah,
Yes, Wyatt
we have a
could.
guy that runs a
Wyatt.
business. We have a very
everything.
diverse
Yeah,
team.
we're all
Very
good.
diverse.
Yes.
Well, how can people support you guys, Vicki? How can this community support you more? I mean, obviously, come out to the dance.
Yeah, send their kids to the dance.
Well,
The high
that'd be
school
great.
kids come to the dance
Come to the
and
banquet at the end
come
of the
to our
year.
banquet. And if you want to hear our stories in a different way, reach out to the website, UmattR.com, and they can will respond and let them know if someone wants to hear our stories. Sometimes we tell our stories at city council meetings or
Sure.
county commission meetings. We've done all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of open to wherever leaders or groups want to hear. We talk to some community groups, different things.
Graham, you guys do a podcast as well, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I mean,
In this very studio.
yes, yeah.
You can tell them about the last one.
So
Yeah.
we just filmed a podcast, me and a couple of other students, about Charlie Kirk and how it has affected us. And I think that was something that was so cool to talk about, that we were able to voice our opinions and share some beliefs about and bring us together. So
It's a very heavy topic for sure.
it is.
How can people access that podcast? What's
On
it
San
under?
Juan Safe Communities, it's going to be posted.
It'll be on YouTube, and we'll put it all on our social media with a link.
Okay, so on the UmattR kind of Facebook.
UmattR Instagram, UmattR Facebook,
Okay.
Yep.
and San Juan Safe Communities website and social media.
Okay. Wonderful. Anything that I've missed and we haven't had a chance to share with our community? Any final parting words of any kind? Inspiration?
Yeah, I mean, if you're freshman, sophomore, junior this year, if you have a story, if you're committed and you're really, like for me, I didn't know if I was the right fit, if I should apply for UmattR. I didn't know. I've been sober forever, but I didn't know if I was the right. You are right. Just apply. Put yourself out there, and if you're committed to doing this and to helping people, and you really want to have an impact and have a purpose, this is a great way to get involved. But there's a bajillion ways in Farmington, and that's one of one of the most
so
amazing things
hands-on.
about
Yeah.
So great.
about the city is how many different ways you can get involved.
true.
But get involved in something, and if UmattR is the right fit for you, then get involved in UmattR because it's awesome.
Yes.
And you'll make a lot of new friends.
You will, exactly.
Let me fulfill that purpose. So critical. Service to others. Thank you all for being here with me. Vicki, thank you for...
Yes, thank you for your
having
time.
us.
Yes, no, honestly, this is probably my favorite episode I think I've ever done. I mean, it's really meaningful to me because I think everything starts with our youth
Yeah.
in our communities. I mean, they're the foundation of what's going to come,
Yeah, exactly.
and being able to influence them in a positive way now is critical. And you guys are teenagers, and just being a teen right now, there are challenges each and every day, and finding the time, committing the time to do this, and then still remain excellent in your school, excellent in your sports, excellent in your church, is something I think we can all look at and certainly aspire to be better at. So
Absolutely.
really appreciate you guys being here, and God bless you for what you do. And Vicki, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coordinating this and each and every year, and Greg, all the work that Greg does, and everybody who volunteers for this. And I just encourage our community, come out and support these kids. They're out there in the schools every week, throughout the whole school year, trying to reach them, to inspire them with their stories and tell them about the importance of being drug and alcohol free. There's so many benefits to living a lifestyle that is healthy and built around those healthy choices. So I encourage you to look up UmattR, go on to the San Juan Safe Communities website, check them out, go on to their social media pages, consider donating to this group. 23 members this year, that's $23,000 right there for our students. I know you get the $1,000 scholarships for school. That's not why you're doing it, obviously, but it's just a small token I think that we can provide in saying thank you for committing yourselves to being community members who truly are embedded in Farmington, and not just Farmington, really all of San Juan County, and inspiring others. So I encourage your community to support them because they are supporting us. So thank you for joining us today on the Mayor's Table. We hope you found this inspirational. Share with your friends and family. We're all over the internet now, between the podcast and YouTube and everything going on. Let's spread this word about UmattR as far and wide as we can. Until then, we'll see you next time here on the Mayor's Table.